Thank you. Thank you all for having me. This is my first time at Slush. My name is Jørn, and I'm the CEO of Soundrop. We create marketing tools for the music industry. Last week, we published a press release on our blog. It was titled Heavy Hearts. In it, we said that as of 31st of December this year, we're effectively retiring all of our Soundrop apps. That includes the Spotify desktop app that I hope some of you are familiar with. Wow, that sounds dramatic. And I'm not going to say that it wasn't, but that was a decision that was more or less made over a year ago, because we've spent 2014 developing our new product, Show.co. In this talk, I'm going to tell the story of how we see music and tech, how we've experienced that field for the last 3 years, share lessons from our point of view, if you will. That brings me to lesson number 1. Building on a strong platform can really boost your business. We started back in 2011. The landscape was quite different back then, and Spotify had just released their app finder. We were one of the first apps to kick it off. We saw tremendous growth already in the first few months. It was pretty exciting to see. Over 500,000 unique and highly engaged users. And some of that had to do with the climate. People were mainly on desktop. They were highly engaged, maybe a early adopter type of crowd. Spotify served as the perfect platform for us to develop. Music is also an explosive ingredient. It connects to us on so many levels. The product we built allowed people to have a social experience in an environment they loved. They could hang out with friends, listen to music, talk, chat, just have a good time, all within Spotify. And since these were very much lean-forward people, it meant that our app worked really well. Music is explosive. We also saw that if you allow fans to run wild, they can create some magical moments with you. We quickly started experimenting with different Soundrop chats. These chats are experiences where we introduce fans and artists together in the same room, talking about their latest album, a tour, basically anything. Q&A session, just a general friendly hangout. These experiences were quite unique, and we have, to this date, arranged more than 400 of them, many of them reaching in the thousands of concurrent listeners. These events were pretty extraordinary, and they were powered by fans going crazy about something that they couldn't have before. This was a unique experience to them. The flip side, though, of being on a platform is that someone else is calling the shots for you. When Spotify introduced Discover in 2012, I was thrilled as myself, as a personal user. It was a great product. For Soundrop as a company, it wasn't good. It wasn't good at all, in fact. We didn't have an opportunity to spotlight our app anymore. Our traffic fell. We saw that, and it underscored that Spotify had a different agenda than us. They had a different mission. Now, of course they did, and of course they should have that. But what it highlighted to us was that we needed to expand our offering. We had to. However, we never considered bringing Soundrop to a new experience without a platform. Why? Because licenses will ruin your life in some way. Licenses can mean certain death, and they have for a lot of companies. Touch them, you may turn into stone. Not necessarily, of course. Obvious fact is to look at what Spotify built, what Deezer and other fully licensed services built. You can create astonishing products and fantastic experiences if you have a full set of licenses available to you. But you also need to be on a huge mission. You need to have deep pockets. You need to really understand the problem that you're trying to solve. That is not for everyone. And many companies have suffered in the valley of death that is music licenses. Now I know this because I used to spend another part of my career sitting on the label side, deciding which services were to be given a chance and which we didn't believe in. It's a tough business. And some of those businesses, they suffered because they tried to fix something that wasn't really all that painful. They tried to fix something that no one really wanted to pay to get fixed. Now this thing that you found, this thing that you're working on, you need to ask yourself, is that a problem that someone really struggles with? Is there money among the customers to fix this? If not, are you building a company to serve and sell an ad audience? I think there are many questions you need to ask yourself, but very often we see, or I see, that companies fall into a situation where they cater to a niche. And that niche is hard to grow away from. You have plenty of niches in the music industry, but growing that can prove very difficult. During our 3 years so far on the Spotify platform, we've enjoyed the position as one of their most popular apps. And that's generated a bunch of leads for us. A lot from the music industry, some from other players. And one of our biggest challenges has always been to sort out the good leads from the bad. Now, that's an obvious problem for most companies, right? But we find that in the music industry, some have a tendency to lead you on further. You can easily be put in a situation where you're going down a rabbit's hole, so to speak. And you need to be aware of the agenda and the history and the operations of the company you're trying to work with. Some may run with you, lead you on, ultimately extracting value and then moving on. Perhaps you were stuck in that niche. Perhaps you weren't able to lift your business. One way to look at that is to try and figure out who's spending money, or rather, who's not spending money. There are many clues to be found there. Look at where, how, when money is being spent. Analyze the category. If what you're creating is totally outside of the spending habits of the ones you're targeting, I think that you're either onto something really, really smart, or you're on your way into the trap that is inventing a problem. Many of us are guilty of inventing problems. It seldom leads anywhere productive. Now, for me, many of these lessons point towards an obvious truth, an obvious realization that we don't always think about. Maybe we forget it sometimes, but to me, it's worth reminding myself that music is an utterly fantastic and brilliant product all by itself. It relies so little on different things to give you a great experience. It can be enjoyed in a lot of different ways. And it's easy to find anecdotal evidence of this. Just think about when you hear one of your favorite songs in the background, perhaps. May someone mentions an artist you care about. You start to feel something. This is how we are connected to music. Most of us are hardwired to feel something from music. Now, a great sound system is always nice, but you don't need it. That's the thing. A lot of us are content with whatever's there, because the kick we can get from music doesn't require a lot. That means it's hard to add value to it. It's not impossible. It's hard. Our take on this was that we had to build something valuable to the industry first, something to help artists, labels, reach out to fans and connect with them. And that's why we built Show.co. You'll remember I spoke about trying to fix real problems. We saw that music distribution was a real problem. I think it's been commoditized at this point. And that means that new challenges and new problems arise. We try to fix them, namely, one special aspect. How in the world do you make sure that you expose the right people to the right content and extract value from them? That's what we're trying to solve. We help the industry showcase their art by creating powerful and smart landing pages, widgets, social campaigns. We give them value through agile marketing, through smart data collection, through ownership of the fan and artist relation. Since our launch in August, we've seen hundreds of campaigns published already to support the marketing of some of the world's most recognized names. And that brings me to what I think is an important point here, and my latest point. Remember that you're in this because you love music. Or I certainly hope so. That's got to be one of the reasons why you decided to venture into music and music tech. Because it's treacherous here, there's no question about that. There are many companies who failed. But I believe that we're in a category that is growing. Music as a category is growing. It is one of the most interesting fields I can think of. And if you look at how people now exchange ownership for access at a rapid pace, I think that sets the stage for how we can do much better as a business. And I'm proud to say that we've found our place in the music industry as a result of that. Thank you all for listening.